He didn't start with an army. He didn't start with a political party. He didn't even start with power. He started with cameras, with headlines, with airtime, while others chased votes and policies. He chased something far more dangerous, attention, and slowly, quietly, that attention turned into influence. Influence turned into trust, trust turned into loyalty, and loyalty turned into power, not elected, not earned, through experience manufactured. Because in the modern world, you don't need control of a country to rule it. Sometimes, all you need is control of the story. This is how media turned an ordinary businessman into one of the most powerful figures on earth. There's a myth we grow up believing, that power comes from money or politics or titles. But today, power comes from something much simpler. Visibility, the people you see the most, you trust the most, the names you hear every day, start to feel important, familiar, necessary, and that's exactly how one businessman cracked the system. He didn't outspend everyone. He didn't outsmart everyone. He out everyone. While competitors focused on products and profits, he focused on cameras. And what happened next changed not just his life, but the relationship between media and power forever. One, the businessman nobody knew at first. He was just another entrepreneur. Meetings, deals, boardrooms, the kind of person, successful in industry, but invisible to the public. And that's the problem. Because in modern society, if people don't see you, you don't exist. You can be rich, you can be brilliant, but without attention, you're irrelevant. He realized something most executives ignore. Money gives you comfort. Media gives you control, and control is far more valuable. So instead of staying behind the scenes, he stepped into the spotlight too, turning exposure into strategy. Most business leaders avoid publicity. He chased it, interviews, talk shows, magazine covers, conferences, POD, CASTS. Every camera was an opportunity, not to sell products, to sell himself. He crafted a persona, confident, bold, direct, sometimes controversial, because controversy spreads faster than competence, and every headline, good or bad, did the same thing. It kept his name alive. People began recognizing him, then quoting him, then following him. And here's the trick most people miss. Familiarity creates trust. Even if you don't know why, if you see someone every day, your brain starts treating them like they matter. 3. The media feedback loop. Once attention started building, something powerful happened. The media began chasing him, not the other way around, because he generated clicks, views, engagement. He was unpredictable, entertaining, polarizing, which meant one thing for news outlets: money. So they covered everything he did, every speech, every post, every small move. He became content. And the more they covered him, the more famous he became. The more famous he became. The more they covered him, a perfect feedback loop. Free publicity, endless reach. No advertising budget could compete with that. While others paid millions to be seen, he was everywhere for free. 4. Blurring business and personality. Then came the genius move. Marketing his company and started marketing himself. Brand wasn't the product anymore. Brand was him. People didn't just buy what he sold, they bought what he represented: confidence, success, authority. Buying from him felt like buying into power. And that's when something subtle changed. He wasn't just a businessman anymore, he was becoming a symbol. And symbols are more powerful than CEOs because symbols influence emotions, not logic. 5. From influence to millions were watching. Something strange happened. His opinions started carrying weight, not just in business, in culture, in policy, in global conversations. Tweet moved markets. A comment changed headlines. Single interview shifted public debates. Think about that. No official title, no elected position. Yet, people listened like he was already in charge, because authority today doesn't come from office. It comes from attention. If enough people are watching you, you're powerful, whether you deserve it or not. 6. When media creates reality, here's the dangerous part. Media doesn't just reflect reality, it shapes it. If the news treats someone like they matter, we assume they matter. If they're constantly framed as successful, we assume they're unstoppable. If they're shown as strong, we believe they're leaders. So slowly, coverage transformed perception. Perception transformed status. Status transformed power. Until one day, the idea of him leading didn't feel strange anymore. It felt inevitable. And that's how media manufactures legitimacy. Not through facts, through repetition. 7. The moment he crossed the line, then came the moment nobody expected. He stepped beyond business into politics, into global influence, into decisions that affected millions. And instead of asking why him, people asked why not him, because they already knew his face, his voice, his personality. He wasn't a stranger, he felt familiar. And familiarity beats qualification almost every time. Of media exposure had done what decades of political experience usually does. It built trust, artificial trust, manufactured trust, but trust nonetheless. And that's how a businessman became a global power figure. Not through policy, presence. 8. The story isn't unique, it's a blueprint today. Influence spreads faster than credibility. The loudest voice wins. The most visible person dominates. Social media, news cycles, algorithms, they all reward attention, not expertise, which means anyone who masters media masters perception. And perception is power. Because in the digital age, if people believe you're important, you are, we like to think, leaders rise. Because they're the most qualified, the most experienced, the most capable. But modern power doesn't always work that way. Sometimes it belongs to the most visible, the most talked about, the most watched. This businessman didn't conquer governments. He conquered screens, and once he owned attention, everything else followed. Because media isn't just storytelling anymore. It's power creation. It decides who matters, who leads, who influences the world. So the next time you see someone everywhere, on your feed, your TV, your headlines, ask yourself something. Are they powerful because they earned it? Or because the media made you believe they are? Because in today's world, that difference changes everything.